Hello, April 15th here. You got another day to do your taxes. What I'm going to talk about, though, is a different kind of record keeping, and that is I did my dormant oil spray on Friday the 13th, taking a chance. And all the sprays I do, you need to record. You really need to keep track of that. And there's two reasons for that, really. First of all, I presume that most of you are not using restricted use pesticides, and neither am I. But there's an economy to keeping track of what you did and how you did it, and that is the next time you learn from these things that you wrote down. This is my application record. I get this book. It's really cool. I got from Penn State. Pretty sure I got from Penn State, and it gives you. And this is really about the worker protection standard, which is good. It's so you have a record of what you did when, in case somebody gets hurt and the like. I really don't have a risk factor for that, but it does. I'm getting in good habits. Um, what the record it has you do, and if you're really small, it might not matter, but you can look at this with me. And one is obviously the date. Block A. I have two blocks. They're inside different fences, so I just say block A. What time of day did I start? What's the re-entry interval for whatever you put on? I mean, right off the bat, when can you go back in? I put down a product called Tritech, which is an oil. It's an oil, but it's only 80% oil, and that other 20% are proprietary goodies that help to smother eggs and the like. So it's also rated as a fungicide, miticide, although other oils say the same thing. Um, I might be switching away from it. I'm still debating. It is expensive, but it has never let me down. I can buy the same volume of product for a quarter of the cost, but it's a 98% oil and it doesn't have all those goodies in there. So I need to find out why I would spend so much money. Anyway, the EPA registration number, um, not generally regarded as safe. Not all products will have an EPA number on their packaging, but it's a really good idea to have it there and to know it's there so you know it's a safe product. What's the active ingredient in the product? It's oil. And everybody pretty much, when I put the registration number, if I have to trace back, we can find out. But oil is good for me to know. Now, on the next page across the median, what was my rate? 2%. That is a dormant application of oil. I would not put that on green tissue. Okay, I'm just make that clear. A green tissue rate would be 1% or less. Now, size of treated area, I only have one block. It's not, so I don't really mess with that. But there's one thing I don't like about the book. There is no space for comments. So I put them where I can fit them. The size of the treated area, I use 15 gallons of water. The total product was 15 gallons. I used a 6508 T-Jet tip. That's really important to me because how long that spray lasts, a lot of it depends on the tip size. The other size is the size of the particles. I know I want the oil to go on nicely. If I make it too much of a mist, I'm going to have drift and it's not going to stick to the leaf. So I want particles that are big enough that they'll smack the leaf and stay there. Also, I noted I have a number 100 screen in the tip. They're these tiny little screens that you put in before you put the tip on, and they act as filters to keep you from clogging the tip. That was a big deal this time because it's the first time I filled the tank from the barn standpipe and I forgot to flush the lines and I blew a ton of rust into the spray tank and I didn't really have time to clean it all out. So I cycled as much as I could out, but there was still floating rust in there. As I was spraying, I noticed that the volume started to go down. Pressure is 40 psi, and I need to write that in there. I took the tip off, and boy, that tip was the filter was clogged. So that's like a big deal because sometimes when you're putting stuff together, you can get some solids in there and they'll clog your tip. And then what really happens typically is the pattern coming out of the tip will shift. It won't be predictable anymore. I use a fan tip, but there's something it's going off the one field, and that's because a little something got in there. So the screen is a cheap insurance policy. Clean it before you go out. I'm putting a toothbrush out in the mailbox. It's not for my teeth, it's so I can clean screens. How much of the oil did I mix in with the water? 38 ounces, which coincidentally is all I had left, which is why I was limited to 15 gallons. I have a note on the bottom of this page for spray, bare trees. I need 20 gallons for total coverage. Some of the trees I wasn't too worried about. What did I use it for? It's a dormant coat for eggs. Scrolling through here, they also ask you what's your wind speed and direction. It was a beautiful, dead calm morning. So it just says calm. Um, I don't have pictures of everything there. I want you to see this though. Next one, method of application. I use a wand. So I just said wand. It's not air blast. It's not ground supplied. It's a wand. And the last name is the name of applicator and certification number. Well, I got that, but it's not what I put in there because it's just me. I put my initials in this time. I'm probably going to start using that for more comments. And look at me. I'm putting in my pressure right now, 40 psi. Now that's not a lot, but for wand, it's more than enough. Um, but bottom line, go online, find yourself a spray log, build an Excel spreadsheet, keep records. Knowing how much I need to make up, I knew that from the previous year because I wrote it down. Knowing that I needed a screen, I wrote it down from the previous year. Each year is a cycle of learning. So spraying is an expensive thing to do. It's time consuming thing to do, and you don't want to waste time. Based on previous spray records, I knew that keeping the agitator, in mine is a bypass jet, keeping that agitator running in my tank is super important for most everything I spray. I bought a 3.8 gallon pump to replace my half of that pump. And it's splendid, but that was again, it was based on that cycle of learning. So keep spray records. That's the gist of today's little share. Kumbaya. It was 80 degrees the other day. It's 40 something right now. We actually had a 40-degree temperature swing the other day. That's Fahrenheit for my metric friends. That's a lot. So later on, I am now actively recording everything in MaryBlite. So as the week goes on, we'll come back and I'll show you my current MaryBlite logs. That's it. Keep spray records. Write down stuff. And I'll see if I can find a link to the Penn State document. I like the printed book better. I like to scribble. I don't really like spreadsheets for this sort of thing. So, good day to all of you and keep notes. Be safe. Have a wonderful, wonderful season. Talk to you later. Bye bye.